are you? Today I brought a recipe that you are definitely going to love. It's delicious, tastes like something from a restaurant, but it only has 3 ingredients. It's super natural, has no sugar, no kind of flour to bind it, no milk, so it's great too if you have a food allergy or intolerance. You're going to love it. You don't even need to know how to cook. It's super easy, step by step. Stay until the end because you won't want to miss this. Before we start, I want to ask you, what's your favorite dessert flavor? This treat here is so healthy that it's not just for dessert, no. It can even be served for breakfast or as an afternoon snack. So go ahead and make it because I'm sure you're going to love it. And while you're at it, leave a like on the video. That's super important to me. This shows YouTube that you support the channel and that you trust my content as a whole. And to get the ingredients, there are only 3, but with the exact amounts and nutritional information, take a look at the description. I always put everything there, all organized for you. The first thing I have here is the egg. Don't worry, I just separated the egg white from the yolk. I'm going to use the whole egg. But first, I'm going to beat the egg white until stiff peaks form. If you want, you can beat it with a fork or a whisk, but I have this device here, which makes it much easier. So, to save time, I'm going to use it. So I'm going to beat it well until it reaches the consistency I want, whipped egg whites. I'll start on low speed to avoid a mess. Once it's the right consistency, we'll continue. Look, when you get these peaks in the egg white, you can stop beating. Now I'm going to set this aside because I have chocolate here. This chocolate is a chocolate 70%. It doesn't have milk in its ingredients, so that's why I said this recipe is dairy-free. And ideally, you should always use a chocolate with at least 70% cocoa content because that tells us it can have a high concentration of cocoa. And it has those bioactive compounds, right? Cocoa has a lot of polyphenols, it has antioxidants, it's anti-inflammatory. Cocoa has a lot of fiber. People forget that good quality chocolate has a lot of fiber. Besides having that wonderful flavor, it also helps stimulate even that feeling of good mood and well-being because of the increased secretion of serotonin in our bodies. So, cocoa, good quality chocolate, can definitely be included in our diet without guilt, okay? So, here's the chocolate. I had already preheated it a bit to start melting it off camera, but it's still not 100% melted. Then I thought, I'm going to stop melting it so I can show that it was chocolate in pieces, because sometimes you have doubts. So, I had already started melting it. I'm just going to finish melting it here so we can mix it into this delicious treat. Hold on, I'll be right back. Now look, the chocolate is completely melted and I'm going to add it to the 4 egg yolks. One of the yolks was already broken. If you're new here, take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel. I have a new wonderful video every day, just like this one. You won't want to miss it. Also, make sure to turn on notifications. Now I'm going to scrape this really well, so there's no waste at all. Tell me, are you also one of those people who scrapes everything until the end? I've always had this habit, and obviously these days that's more important than ever. We can't waste anything. So I'm going to scrape it really well here. I think that's all of it now. And now let's mix the chocolate with the yolk. This is going to take a few minutes to get really smooth, especially because the consistency of the yolk and the chocolate itself will change. So when it's just right, I'll come back here so we can incorporate it into our whipped egg whites, which has a little trick I want to tell you about. Now I'm going to do the following. I'm going to take a bit of these egg whites here, about 2 tablespoons, and mix them in here with the chocolate and the yolk to make this mixture a little lighter. So that when we incorporate it into the big bowl of egg whites, we don't lose that fluffiness. This helps, otherwise the batter gets too heavy. When we do this pre-mixing, it makes this more airy and makes it easier to mix in over there. And we don't lose the airiness we've achieved there. I'm going to give it a stir. Here we can mix it any way we want, just to really incorporate everything well. So now I'm going to take this mixture here and add it to the rest of the egg whites. And then I'll begin to fold it in much more gently and carefully, so that we don't accidentally lose all of this wonderful light airiness that we've managed to create here. I'll show you little by little. Let me just scrape all this chocolate really well. And before I start folding, I'll be right back. Hold on. Now, I'm gently folding the egg whites into the chocolate to try to make it fluffier, more airy. Once everything is more homogeneous, I'll transfer it to a baking dish and bake it. This here is the base, like the cake part of our recipe. So hold on a second. When everything is well incorporated, I'll be right back. Now I'm going to transfer it to this baking dish here, and I put this parchment paper in so I can easily remove it later. I'm going to bake it in a preheated oven at 360 degrees Fahrenheit. When I get back, I'll tell you how long it took. And we'll make our topping, which is another delicious layer where we'll use one more different ingredient and repeat another one. I'll explain it to you in a second. Hold on. All right, I took out this chocolate cake part. It only took 30 minutes to bake. I even did the toothpick test here to show you, right? It was all done already. It needs to come out clean and dry. Let's make our topping. So first I'm going to use the same chocolate I used in the batter. I'll melt it the same way and I'll be back because we still have one more ingredient to add here to make a delicious topping. Well, here's our chocolate. Look, all melted. So before mixing in the banana, which is our last ingredient, I'm going to make a puree out of this banana. You can mash it and mash it, but I'm going to use the food processor because then it'll get really smooth, really creamy, so that when we mix in this chocolate, we'll get a very smooth. But if you don't have one, that's fine. Just mash, mash, mash it with a fork then. I'll blend this now, then come back to mix them together. So look, the banana is really well blended. See, it turned into a cream. And now all you have to do is turn this into an amazing topping by adding the chocolate here and mixing it well with the banana. If you want, you can keep blending everything with the hand mixer. That's fine. But I wanted to mix it here with a spatula because I'm afraid it might get stuck in the mixer and I could end up losing some chocolate. So I think this way we'll be able to make better use of all the ingredients. So look, I'm going to scrape it well here, incorporate it, mix everything together, and then we'll use it as a topping. Hold on. Now just pour the topping over the cake, spread it out a bit, and then put it in the fridge to set before cutting into this delicious treat. So I'm going to do that, and in a bit, I'll be back with it looking all nice so we can try it together. Look how cute it is. I even put a fork here to lift up a slice for us, and I really want to show you. I left the parchment paper so you can see how much easier it makes it to get everything out perfectly later. Try it at home. You're going to love it. Look, I'm going to cut a little piece now so you can see. Try it at home. You're definitely going to love it. Look. Remember to like the video and share it with anyone you think will enjoy it and needs it. Let's spread this chain of kindness here, which is what I want for the channel. Super creamy on the bottom, ultra sweet, sugar-free. Make it at home. You're going to love it. See you next time. Bye.